Alright guys, today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the various starting pulling positions you can use when working with a snatch. I want to hit on these because I'm going to be making some more videos about kind of all the progressions and drills and technique primers that I've used over the past couple of years to learn the snatch. But it's always helpful to understand, like, if I'm saying high hang or a tall or low hang, or that kind of verbiage, to understand that and just kind of understand some of the positions and vocabulary that comes with weightlifting, so that when you walk into the gym and you see a 3-position snatch from the floor, knee, and high hang, you know what that means. I'm going to start with pulling from the floor. And it looks a lot, that starting position for coming from the floor looks like this. This is where the bar should be, on the floor. So you'd start from here and snatch. Pretty simple. From the floor, makes sense. The next position to consider is called the low hang, and this is when you set up. This is basically right when the bar comes off the ground. So you want to be an inch, 2 inches off the ground at the most. So low hang, grip the bar, and that position would be about here. See, there's not much of a difference, but typically what will happen is you'll stand it up all the way to the power position and then bring it back down to the low hang and snatch from there. So you can do it either way. Either you'll do kind of a pause at the low hang, which is lift as soon as you feel it come off the ground, pause, and then snatch, or stand it up, bring it down to a low hang, and then snatch. Next, as we're working our way up the body, you might hit a below the knee snatch, below the knee hang snatch. So that position would be right about here. Again, just like we talked about with the low hang, if you come up and pause there, you can do a pause at the knee, and by pausing just below the knee and then snatching, it really drills in that kind of motion around the knee, or as the barbell passes the knee, which can be a tricky point for most people. So that's a good way that you can really drill that in, is instead of just doing all your hangs from right above the kneecap, you can bring it just right below. It's a little bit different. Give it a try. You can also, like I said, stand it up, come back down right below the knee, snatch from there. When you typically hear just hang snatch, most people are going to think of basically this right above the knee position. I'm going to stand it up and then go down to the hang snatch position. Probably what you're most familiar with if you've been lifting. If you haven't been, or you're new to weightlifting, you'll get familiar with it because it's programmed all the time. Typically that really cuts the pulling motion about in half, but it's probably the most simple position to do a hang or partial snatch from, because you don't have to worry about the mechanics of the starting position. You don't have to worry about getting around the knee. It's all about that hip extension and finishing, right? Still on up from there, one that I particularly like to use recently is called the mid-thigh hang position. So again, we can stand it up, bring it down, not all the way to the hang where we just were, but mid-thigh. So you're still bent over, you're still covering the bar, you're still down a little bit, and it gives you some room to explode, right? But it's not quite as much as a full hang. So mid-thigh, that's my favorite one to use when I really want to drill, getting that brushing at the hip, getting that hip contact, just really getting it in there before exploding and finishing. If I feel like I'm just not actually getting it all the way there, maybe I'm pulling a little bit early, not getting it all the way to that power position, I'll go back to that mid-hang and drill it from there. So that's a good one. And then the last one is, we'll call it high hang or power position. And that is essentially all the way stood up with a bar right in that hip crease. Some people will, from this position, give it a little bit of a kind of a dip, but it's not so much a covering over, it's just that rebend, so that then they can get a little bit of momentum on the bar. Or from this position you can do what's called a tall snatch. See if I can do it here, where there's no re-dip, there's no real foot movement, and you're just pulling yourself underneath the bar as quick as you can. So those are the positions. You've got from the floor, low hang, below the knee hang, hang above the knee or typical hang, mid-thigh, and power position or high hang. So get familiar with those, play with snatches from all those positions. You might find one that feels real good or feels real bad, and you can try to figure out why that is. Maybe future videos will help, but get familiar with those, and we'll see you in the next video.